Hi folks, welcome back to Get Your Sax Together. I'm pro saxophonist Jamie Anderson. On this video, I'm going to start a new Sax Legends series, and we're going to start with this guy here, Charlie Parker. I'm going to give you one of his greatest ever licks to learn. I'm going to give you all the tunes you need to listen to get to know him, and we're going to learn a bit about his life and his influence. Any of you that have been following my channel may have noticed that behind me in the Get Your Sax Together studio set, there are some cool photos. Now, all these people behind me are all my greatest influences and some of the greatest sax players ever. So I thought I would start a new series called Sax Legends, where we take them one at a time, we look at their music, we look at their lives, and then we learn one or two maybe of their key licks, and I give you the fantastic five top tunes that they've recorded, so you can really get to know the history of the instrument and all the greatest sax players that have ever been. Now, this guy, we're going to start with Charlie Parker, also known as Bird or Yardbird, who is arguably the greatest genius sax player of all time. I mean, we can argue about this all day, but there's no doubt that this dude is where you might want to start if you want to learn about sax. So before I teach you my favourite ever Charlie Parker lick, let's learn a little bit more about the tortured genius that was Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker was a genius virtuoso alto saxophonist who pioneered bebop music between 1945 and 55, and he was romanticised by the hipster beat generation. However, his character was terribly flawed, and he was beset with mental health problems, alcoholism, heroin addiction, and frequent suicide attempts. He was born on August 29th, 1920, and died on March the 12th, 1955, at the age of 34. Although the coroner actually estimated his age to be between 50 and 60, such were the rigours of his lifestyle. Charlie Parker, also known as Bird or Yardbird, grew up in Kansas City in Kansas. And between 1938 and 1942, he played with the Jay McShann Band, a territory swing big band, until 1942, when he joined Earl Hines' band. Now, significantly, that's where he first met Dizzy Gillespie, who would be his main collaborator when they invented bebop a little bit later. Bebop music was invented by Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie as a reaction to the smooth, saccharine sound of the dance big bands that they were playing in at the time. And it was fast, frantic, angular, and very unapproachable. And they all used to hang out after hours, after their gigs, down in tiny little dingy jazz clubs in New York's 52nd Street and in Harlem. Between 1942 and 1944, there were no commercial recordings made due to a strike by the American Musicians Union, so this period is not documented at all, until we get to November the 26th, 1945, where Charlie Parker had a recording date for Savoy Records after the ban was lifted, and he recorded some of his most classic tunes like Coco, Now's the Time, and Billy's Bounce, with an all-star band that included a really young Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, and drummer Max Roach. Following this, in December 1945, Bird headed over to the west coast of America to LA to do a residency, which ended up being an absolute disaster. He sold his plane fare home, bought more heroin, and eventually ended up in Camarillo State Mental Hospital for a 6-month period. The rest of Bird's tragically short life was a mixture of fabulous periods of recordings and being a good family man, but then real lows and drug addiction and absolute chaos and mental illness. Most poignantly, Charlie Parker wasn't even allowed into the nightclub they named after him called Birdland. In every aspect of his life, Charlie Parker's life was dangerously intense. His drug use, alcoholism, he used to eat prodigiously. Musically, it was reflected as well. He used to play at breakneck tempos and really hard keys. So it was almost inevitable that this tortured genius was destined to die young. The word genius is too often used, however, in the case of Charlie Parker, it is truly justified. He used to play at blindingly fast tempos, playing intricate chromatic runs, throwing in chord substitutions and quoting popular songs of the day, all with apparent ease. He was incessantly inventive in his improvisation, and he was completely fluent in every key. Plus, for me, he never sounds aged at all. He used to have much less vibrato than other players of the era, and remains a completely modern sounding player even to this day. In a nutshell, Charlie Parker is undoubtedly one of the greatest people ever to pick up a saxophone and play it. If you want some more info on Bird and want to learn a bit more about his life, there's an excellent movie directed by Clint Eastwood, and there are several very good biographies. So go and check out some Charlie Parker and you will not be sorry. Charlie Parker was only captured on film a minuscule amount of times, but these two clips, although they're staged studio filming sessions, should give you a better idea of what he was like in the flesh. Now that we've learned a little bit more about the character of the man behind the music, let's see if we can learn one classic Charlie Parker lick which really sums up the DNA of his playing. It's almost impossible to choose one. I've chosen just my personal favourite because I love it so much and it sums up everything about Charlie Parker. It's blisteringly fast, it's in an unusually hard key, he throws the rhythms around, and he has really fantastic harmony in his lick as well. So this is from the tune Coco. The chord changes are on the tune Cherokee, and this is his second chorus right at the beginning of the bridge. Now if you listen to the original recording, that's about 1 minute and 40 seconds in. So let's have a little listen. So the harmony is a 2-5-1 to concert B major, which is C sharp major for tenor sax and A flat major for alto sax. So here's the lick a little bit slower. Now I'll break it down in real slow motion, get the fingerings up for alto and tenor, and let's learn it. Here it goes. Now here it is again, played much quicker. So why is this lick so fantastic? Well, for me, it sums up everything that's brilliant about Charlie Parker. Harmonically, it's bang on, he's throwing around arpeggios, and he's got that wonderful augmented sound on the dominant into the next major 7. Rhythmically, he really throws it around. It goes 2, 3, 4, 1, babadum, 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 bow. And that's what bebop really pioneered, that off-center throwing the rhythms around. And it's just executed so cleanly and with such precision. That is Charlie Parker for you in a nutshell. So how about some tunes that you really need to check out that sum up Charlie Parker? Well, I'm going to call this the Charlie Parker Fantastic 5. So here are the tunes that you need to check out. Number 1, the one that we took the lick from, Coco. Number 2, Donna Lee, one of his absolute classic heads. A Night in Tunisia, which is an absolute classic tune. His solo on that is off the chain, you should check that out. Number 4, Billy's Bounce, must have a blues in there, because that's what he was really famous for. And finally, the absolutely hauntingly beautiful and bluesy Parker's Mood, which sums up all his virtuosity and all his heartfelt soloing in one tune, Parker's Mood. Now also, if you really want to check out some of his solos a bit more, look at this. This is called the Charlie Parker Omnibook. My copy's, well, it's fallen to pieces actually. I've used it so much over the years. But you can pick up a copy of this, if I can keep it together. This is a transcription series of many of his solos. So if you don't want to go through my 3-step transcription process, and the link for that series is up there, and I would highly recommend doing that, by the way, then you can quickly access some of his best material in the Charlie Parker Omnibook, so go and check that one out. So what a fabulous video learning about the life and times and music of Charlie Parker, our sax legend #1. And of course, there'll be more videos in that series as we start to look at all these people back here who are the greatest influence on sax and on me. Now, if you're enjoying the channel, as usual, please do remember to subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like it, go to the Instagram, click the bell icon to be notified when I upload new videos, and of course, go down into the description and go and click the link to get your free PDF with the transcription of that Charlie Parker lick. And I'll see you next time on Get Your Sax Together. See you later. Now, he just... Hello? There's an outtake.
Sorry.